The Gnostic were knowers of a tremendous secret, and I'm going to tell you that secret in a minute. And what is the secret? They knew a secret. And the secret was a terrible secret because it was deadly to the rulers of the world's religions and the world's governments, and they were killed for this secret. And I'm going to tell the secret to you, and I'm going to reveal the secret to you from the Gnostics. Because the ones who profit from the established traditions of society could not allow people to hear this secret. It was too dangerous to them. So they oppressed and they killed them. I'm going to read you the secret of the Gnostics right now. Quote, human life does not fulfill its promise within the structures and establishments of society. No one comes to true selfhood by being what society wants you to be, nor by doing what society wants you to do.
Lucky number 13. We are back for episode 13 of Quantum Alchemists. I am your host, Mr. Alchemistic, but you can call me B. And I'm joined as always by my very gracious co-host, Mr. Quantum himself, Alex Romero-Benjian.
What's up, everybody? What's up, B? It's been quite a minute. I think it's probably been like a week or two since the last one.
I was just looking at the episode today. It's been 10 days. And I just want to say before we get started, thank you guys for watching last episode. It has been our most successful episode to date, most viewed episode, Octopussy. If you haven't seen it, episode 12, go check it out. It's about the Jack Cruz interview on the Danny Jones podcast and a whole bunch of conspiracy rabbit holes. And it's about the Octopussy that has its tentacles wrapped around our society.
Some people might call it Hydra.
It was definitely, I liked Octopussy just because of the James Bond, and I think it's just a funny word to say, Octopussy.
It's a fun word.
That was a stressful episode to put together, man, to produce, because we uploaded it, right? And then YouTube snatched it down within like 15 minutes because we said the dreaded V word. And so what I had to do was I had to break the episode up. I had to go through and watch the whole episode, find all the times we said the V word, and then I had to figure out how to bleep it out on CapCut, which I did watch the video. That was very helpful on how to bleep out. So now I know how to censor our podcast if we ever need to do it again. So yeah, it was. It took me like 5 hours to watch the whole episode, find like timestamp every time we said the word, and then go back through. And luckily, we said it in chunks. Like there was 5 like 3 to 8 minute sections that I had to chop out of the episode. And then I put it into CapCut, put it on my phone, edited it on my phone, and put it back onto my computer, and then smashed it all together. It was a pain in the ass. So I appreciate you guys watching it. It was ended up being worth all my efforts now that it's the most watched episode. So if you guys like that episode, buckle up, buckaroos. We're back for another one. And we got some really fun stuff to talk about today. We're going to kind of delve a little more into the spirituality part, which, what is the sorcery? Episode 11 did really well as well. That was our it's now our second most watched episode. So we're on a roll here. Had 2 really good episodes in a row, very well viewed. And we want to keep you guys going and keep you guys stimulated with some great information. So I've been
by the way, I want to tell you, I had someone from our audience, D, thank you so much for watching. And she said that she loves your passion. She loves your tenacity. She loves how she loves the game concept, your t-shirts. She's just she really she loves what you're doing, and she says keep up the great work. And she's definitely one of our biggest cheerleaders. We had a great talk earlier today, probably for like a good 2 hours. Such a wonderful woman. I love her so much. Love you,
what was her name? Mama D?
Diana, yeah.
Diana. Thank you, Diana. And if you like my t-shirts, go to alchemisticapparel.com. I got one on right now. This is my board game, Kundalini, which I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. But before we get into my board game, I want to share this Manly P. Hall quote that I found. I've been finding these pretty frequently on Instagram, which is kind of how I find my information. I get these little breadcrumbs on social media or on the internet. I'll just stumble across really good stuff. And that's when you're tapped in, when you're tapped in, that's kind of how it goes, guys. And we're trying to teach you guys how to do the same and tap in and really find your full potential and find that connection to source. So it's a really good Manly Peak Hall quote. And he goes, in terms of realization, truth is the cosmic fact. And that fact is the most beautiful, the most noble, the most gentle, the most wise, the most desirable of all things. The truth is not merely a word that can be defined, but it is a sufficiency toward which man grows. It is the absolute law that abides in the farthermost and the innermost. It is all sufficient to the wise man. Only the real can perceive or value the real. The ancient masters have told us that illumination, the final reward of discipline, comes suddenly when no man knoweth. At the end of the path is that state desired of all men. It is impossible to say when illumination will come to any individual. It may come tomorrow, or it may come after 10,000 lives, but discipline inevitably will bring closer this day of liberation. Metaphysics promises man freedom, security, and wisdom only when he has elevated his own nature to the appreciation and realization of the divine plan. And that is Manly P. Hall from Self-Unfoldment by Disciplines of Realization.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I always tell people that there's one thing about truth that is absolutely wonderful, and that is that you can do anything you want to the truth, but you can't alter it. You cannot alter truth.
No,
Absolute truth is not.
it is the unalienable, unchangeable, it's a permeable fact. Like truth, when you find it, it speaks to your soul. It hits you on a level here in your gut, like how you know that that's truth, and it's something as a seeker that you have to find the discernment. You have to sharpen your discernment sword, because we've talked about this plenty of times. The Matrix sponsored version of truth that comes when you're seeking out of the mainstream, out of society. And I'm going to add a video at the very beginning. So you've already seen it if you're watching this, but I want to talk about that video a little bit. It's Bill Donahue, who is another guy. He's a little breadcrumb videos that I get from TikTok or Instagram. Bill Donahue, he's a guy, I believe, from the 70s. He was demonized in the mainstream as a cult leader and this and that, but he really breaks down the scriptures, right? The Bible, and shows you the different mystic texts within the Bible and the different symbolism and how it correlates to, much like what we're doing here. Like I'm trying to show you guys how the puzzle pieces come together, and that's what I did in this board game in Kundalini. I have all these different symbols from these different mystic traditions that I put together in this game. And this quote is about the Gnostics and that how you must basically deviate from society to find your authentic self. And truth only comes when you're willing to step outside of what society's expectations are of you to find that unalienable truth. And once you sharpen your discernment sword, you can find it in your gut when you've come across truth. Like I know that that's truth. And that's what we're trying to bring you here on this podcast, and help you to sharpen your discernment sword. So I was telling Alex, you guys see I'm wearing my Dodgers champs hat. He just had a birthday. This is my birthday present from my mom. It's a really
happy
sweet
belated
hat.
birthday.
Thank you very much. Turn the ripe young age of 42, which at this point, man, I don't feel like I feel like I'm kind of ageless, I don't feel 42 for sure. I feel better than I ever have. I look better than I ever have. You look at these guns.
Well,
Um,
I'm glad you bring that up. I'm glad you bring that up because one of the things that I brought this up with my friend Lily not long ago. I was like, one of the things that helps you not age so much is less stress, right? And so when you start tapping into like love and you start tapping into peace and harmony and all these different frequencies, like the things that we should be stressed about no longer really stress us out the way they used to. So like yeah, granted, I have some grays, you know what I mean? In terms of always being constantly stressed out, constantly being in fight or flight, you know, um, you're gonna get hit with a lot of pressures from a lot of different areas, and it's, I want to say, prioritizing your pressures. You know, which ones are, some of them are are not within your control. You know, some things are not within your control, and as much as we want them to be, they're not. And so it's just knowing and being, again, truthful, right? Because you have to be honest to yourself, you know, about what the situational awareness of what, you know, what the situational awareness is. So truth is a very big important factor in this, to help you not stress out and like constantly be in panic mode. That helps you not age much. That's why I'm
Yeah.
going back to that.
And Manly P. Hall talked about it in a quote, discipline, right? Self-love brings discipline, because once you love yourself, then you don't accept anything less, and it breeds discipline within you. And I'm at a stage in my life now where I do my energy work practices like diligently every day, even when I don't feel like it. And one of the things I do is I go outside, I walk on the grass, take in the sunshine, and work with the trees. Touch the trees like a hippie, and do mantras, which
Tree
I
hugger.
spoke about last episode, and really work with the energy of nature and work the energy of the earth. And then I have a shower ritual where I work the energy of the water. And I eat fairly well. I mean, a little bit of cheesecake lately, but I try to make sure that I put the proper fuel in my body. I drink a lot of water. I work out almost every
Yeah.
day.
A good diet is important. A good diet is super important. Like processed foods and all that stuff. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I'm sure everyone in the audience is probably like, "Oh, we get it," but it's like, no, no, no. It's really that important. Like, it's super important. I mean, even like you could eat a lot less and just cook something, and you'll be way healthier than eating more of the processed garbage. Like, unfortunately, like people don't realize like a lot of these processed foods are causing people to start acquiring, some forms of cancer, and they're triggering, a lot of there's a lot of things happening within our genetic makeup that is partially because of the V thing and the thing that they, made us do. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that stuff is actually uh rewriting, genetic coding. Granted, like there's actually published research on this stuff, which I will gladly, if anyone wants to reach out to me and ask me for the information, I will gladly forward it to you. Um, and yeah, like these are things to take account of. And this is stuff that, even Jack Cruz talked about in his podcast with this whole SV40 thing, and so like if you took that thing and you're eating this garbage, like just know you're prone to really messed up medical conditions. Okay. And I'm
Yeah.
only speaking from experience. Like I've got a loved one right now, just got diagnosed a couple days ago. It's a real thing. And it's something that, shouldn't actually be taken so lightly.
Well,
But
yeah, and we
uh,
did talk about it. We talked about it pretty extensively last episode, but it's worth mentioning again. And you mentioned the V word. We mentioned the bad food, and like any one of these things alone is bad, but may not be horrible. But then you put them all together, and it's like a witch's brew
yeah,
of bad stuff,
recipe for
right?
disaster.
And
Recipe for
and
disaster.
it's just it's a recipe for disaster, and that's unfortunately, if you really look into the last episode and what we were talking about with the American health system, it is by design. They want you to be unhealthy and die before you retire, so they don't have to pay you out. So yeah, it's just find your self love. I think that's one of the main messages out of being an alchemist is about transmuting energy into love and taking all of this heavy stuff, this heavy information that we're bringing you about Octopussy and the tentacles of this dark shadowy thing that has a stranglehold on our world and give you hope and transmute this energy into love and give you hope that, you know, there are solutions. But it really does start with you. You have to have the discipline, like Manly P. Hall said, the discipline to pursue truth and to find the self-love and the ability to become your best self, because that's what it's going to require is, you know, you want to be the change, and you want to see the world change, you got to be the change first. You got to be the change you want to
Right.
see in the world, and be willing to be uncomfortable. I did a really extensive Instagram and TikTok video about being comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, a lot of the times life is challenging us to change, whether it be people in our lives, our relationships, our jobs, our addictions.
Our
Um,
experience in this matrix, our experience in this matrix is designed to give us 100% feedback 100% of the time during every experience to let us know whether or not we're on the right path. It's designed that way. So in every instance, in every moment of your life, you can be thinking, what is my takeaway from this? What am I supposed to learn from this experience? It could be a beautiful experience. It could be great, just take in the beauty, admire it. Or it could be GTFO, you're in danger, you moron. What are you doing here? Go. Like, it's every moment, every instance of your life, there should be this uh thought in your subconscious of what something just designed for me to, like, you know, to take in some new thing that I haven't seen before, you know, or is it something that, or is this making me feel a certain way where I've kind of felt this before, and this is one of those, like, that's your intuition, like that's your fight or flight saying, I should probably get the hell out of here, right? You know, or this situation probably, I could see where it's going, you know. um I've been down this path before, and this is the part where, like, I want to help people avoid travesty, okay? And I tell you this because, you know, at some point you go into situations with people, and you just know, if I continue down this path with this person or with this situation, it's going to lead to either pain or loss, which, you know, both usually happen, right? And it happens in either time or energy. And energy could be in money or just your time, like basically your effort, right? So, when you recognize things, and like, uh, you'll start to put, and I want to say boundaries, right? I want to say that this is like, putting boundaries is really important, because putting boundaries protects you from other people's bullshit, right? Because you operate from a place of, hey, you know what? I do business a certain way, and I do it that way because I've learned my lessons. I know if I don't do this, or if I do that, if I tell a customer that, you know, to come pick up their stuff and it's not ready, you know, even though it's something that's quick, like, I'm playing with fire. Things can happen, things go wrong all the time. So just put your ducks in a row, right? Just when the process hits that step, then execute on that step, and then move to the next, right? But don't skip steps, because the moment you start skipping steps, life will find a way to throw a freaking stick in your way. Okay. And it's meant for you to learn a lesson, because if you don't learn that lesson at that time, where it's something that's such a small thing where it may not be a big deal, one day you're going to get that really big deal where maybe someone's life isn't in the line, and you're going to really fuck it up if you don't learn these lessons when you have the little ones, right? So it's like, oh, but it's just a small thing, just a small thing. It's like, yes, that time it was. Maybe this time it is. But if you keep ignoring the small things, I promise you, mark my words, the big one's gonna come, and you're gonna feel it. And so are the people around you. And people are gonna be very disappointed when you didn't listen to that inner voice that could have helped all of you. Just
yeah.
saying that. That's my 2 cents for that.
No, that totally hits on the post I was talking about on Instagram, where I was talking about being uncomfortable, and like, we tend to choose comfort over uncomfortable situations, and the uncomfortability is offering you a chance to grow, a chance for knowledge, and, you know, and a chance to get better. where it's a comfortability of routine or addictions or habits or people or jobs or whatever are offering you comfort and safety, right? And we tend to choose comfort and safety. But if you push away, like Drake, you push away the uncomfortability for too long, eventually you're going to come to a place on your path where you need that growth and you need that knowledge that the uncomfortability was offering you, and you're not going to have it. You're not going to be able to overcome an obstacle somewhere down your path, because instead of choosing that uncomfortable growth and that uncomfortable knowledge, you chose comfort. And now you come to this place where you're in a fork in the road. You don't know which way to go, or you come across this big obstacle that you're like, oh, fuck. And you needed that knowledge and that growth. Like in the situations like you're talking about, where it's like and then in the long term, it puts you in an uncomfortable situation for an extended period of time, or maybe it might just destroy your whole life. And it was like, man, if I would have just taken that uncomfortable growth and knowledge at the time instead of the same old, the comfort of the same old, I would have been able to overcome that. But this is life. There's a purpose to all of this, and like you were saying, Alex, very aptly, like life is going to give you these tests and these challenges and these things, and it's like we're in cycles. This is a cycle, like, right, we've talked about this over and over again. We're in a system of circles. We're in a big circle surrounded by other circles going in circles. It's this big machine of circles and cycles, right? And our lives are no different. We're circles. If you really look at the geometry of our body, especially the light body, we are circles and we're going in cycles. And we have these cycles in our lives, and in order to grow and elevate ourselves, sometimes we come to this point where it's like, all right, here comes the test. And if you didn't study, if you didn't take the uncomfortable growth and the uncomfortable knowledge and study for this big test that you don't see coming, right? If you're ready for it, they say that luck is being ready for your opportunity when it comes. But being unlucky is the same way. It's being unready for an opportunity or unready for a situation.
Right.
This is this is life, you guys. And
I was going to say, and to that point, and I was just going to add real quickly that, the way that the system is designed, it's not designed to give you anything you can't handle. That's the part that we have to remember. Everything that we're given, everything we can handle. We're not here, we're not deliberately put in situations to break us if we didn't think, if powers that be didn't think we could handle it, okay? Because God, our God, our creator is not cruel either. If he didn't think you could handle something, then you wouldn't go through it. I'm not saying that it means that, that that it's that, and sometimes it may not feel very fair, because sometimes we may go through a lot of turmoil and a lot of pain. But if you remove yourself from the equation and you see how much pain you've gone through, you have to be really honest with yourself. A lot of that pain was probably self-induced, probably caused by stupidities of your own actions, and or lack of interest or lack of participation. Like, there's things that could have been done differently for you not to experience that pain so much, right? But I always go, because you know what? It's not you can't ever, like, yes, you can point to people and say they caused you pain when it's obvious, right? But we ultimately, at some point, based obviously on a lot of factors, including our age and a lot of things, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but once you're of age and you have the ability to, like, not be subject to other people imposing their will on you, like, it's really on you. Okay. And it's really on you to, like, draw the boundaries. We go back to boundaries and saying, okay, my boundaries are right here, right? And you can, the problem with people, and this is one of the reasons why I really I enjoy meeting new people, is that because when you have people that you've known for a long time, they seem to think that your boundaries don't are non-existent, right? And so they're like, oh, I've known you for so long. It's like, yeah, I get you, but when you meet new people and they have no concept of how they know you or where they know you from, whatever, and the moment they start to cross certain lines, you start to draw those boundaries right away. They know not to cross them, and sometimes I like to bring those people. I like to bring my older friends around new people so that they could see what my new boundaries are. And so I'm like, you see how they're respecting me? Well, now you gotta respect me too. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. We just ain't hanging out no more. That's it. And then they start to feel some sort of way. It's like, look, I gave you the opportunity to come into my life, into my circle, but you didn't respect my boundaries. And I'm sorry, but I have learned my lessons and I no longer wish to experience pain. And that's my right. I don't have to. If you want to keep reliving your fucking shit, like go ahead, bro. Do you? I tap out. I'm out.
No, that's wise. That's the wise man's path. And this brings me to another one of these videos that I saw. I consume a lot of really good breadcrumbs. That's one of the good things about social media when your algorithm is tuned the right way, is it will keep sending you really good stuff. And one of the things the guy was talking about was our realities, right? A lot of people say, "Oh, we create our own universe. We're our own universe," but he's like, that's actually incorrect. Like this is a collective experience, right? Everyone's yes, you have the power over your own life, right? And your environment, your situations, but we're co-creating this with the other versions of God, right? We're co-creating this with other creators, which is what this matrix, this reality is. It's just a bunch of creators co-creating this reality. And to your point, Alex, if you allow people in your creative sphere, your energy field, that bring you down, that don't respect your boundaries, that don't respect you, then they're going to co-create a reality in your sphere that is not going to be conducive to who you want
It's
to be.
not in alignment. It's not in alignment with you.
Not going to align, and you're going to come across these situations where their creation bounces off of your creation and creates disharmony. And that's why
It's
we
friction,
stress
friction.
that's why we stress that it's so important to do these types of things for yourself, for the self-love. It's hard to lose people sometimes, but it's also
Always.
hard.
It's always hard to lose people. Always.
Yeah, and but it's also hard to be faced with situations that you have to deal with that were not of your own making because you allowed somebody else to cross your boundary and bring a bunch of bullshit into your creative sphere. And it can really be detrimental to your environment.
Yeah.
So,
Especially if you don't have your shit, if you're not really 10 toes down in your own existence, like it can definitely derail people. You have
yeah,
to be definitely resilient.
but I mean, I'm I'm in such a good space right now, man. I want to talk about this before we're running out of time on the first part, but I want to kind of get into this so we can kind of clean slate it for the second part. And I do have a video I want to share in between that's relevant to what I want to talk about right now before we end this part. So we've talked a lot about astrology, and once you're super tapped in, you start to feel and resonate with these energies even more. And I'm a Sagittarius. Obviously, my birthday was the 4th, and we had a new moon in Sagittarius on the 1st. Very powerful energy, and the new moon is about new beginnings, right? It's just like the moon. It's a as above, so below. It's a reflection, and you feel these energies. And something being that the new moon was in my sign, I was doing a little short, little fast, and came out of it, boom, gangbusters. And at this game, I talked about my game. I came out here and I tested it before I left LA, right? And there were a couple little clunky things with the game that I wanted to change. And I'd come across some information that I really wanted to incorporate in. And like I said, I've incorporated the snakes, the Kundalini, right? The tree of life from the Kabbalah, and then the Kundalini chakras, and then the tarot. My tarot deck is the action cards for it, right? And there's this one clunky part that I wanted to incorporate the tree of life more. The way I had incorporated it was kind of clunky, and I came out like all of a sudden. I've been out here for 2 months now in Georgia, and this is one of the things I wanted to work on while I was out here. Was this in my scripts? And this new moon hit, and I came out of this fast, and it was just like a lightning bolt. Boom! All of a sudden, I got this fucking download of how to do it, how to incorporate the tree of life, right? So, if you guys don't know about the tree of life has 10 Sephiroth, right, which are it's on the board, and then I created this little part of the game here for the descent. it used to be in the game, you would go up the snakes and then you'd go down the Kundalini chakras and then back up. And the Tree of Life was very sparsely incorporated, right? And I came across this information to where I wanted to make the descent, instead of going down the chakras, you would go down the Tree of Life, right? So I found all this information. And so on the Tree of Life, there's 10 Sephiroth, right? And in between the Sephiroth, there's 22 paths. And this is just knowledge that I've come across as I created this painting that I based the game on about a year ago, right? Where before I knew any of this knowledge, I was still like a neophyte in a lot of this stuff. I knew a lot about the different pieces of information, the pieces of the mirror, right? But I had never put it all together. But if you look at the Tree of Life, it has 22 paths in between the Sephiroth. In the tarot, there are 22 major arcana cards. And like I said, guys, when you're tapped in, this stuff just starts coming to you. And this is stuff that I put together in this painting. And I started, I added the tarot to the game before I knew this about the Tree of Life, right? The 22 paths. So every path on the Tree of Life correlates with a major arcana card. And these are two different, it's intense, man. And like, so all these puzzle pieces I didn't know.
Yeah.
This is Source, right? This is Source working through me. I didn't know this, months ago. When I first incorporated the tarot, I didn't know that each fucking path on the Tree of Life correlates with the tarot card. So anyway, I added the descent on the Tree of Life correlates with a major arcana tarot card. So, and then each Sephiroth has its own set of minor arcana tarot cards that correlate with it on the journey on the tarot, the journey of the Fool's journey from the tarot, and the journey on the Tree of Life are literally like this. And so every Sephiroth
you didn't even know.
I didn't, when I put this game together, when I made this painting, I did not know that, but it all correlates. So this is, I'm just telling you guys, not to like, oh, I'm so tapped in. This is what happens, right? As you're learning, I'm learning directly from Source, all of this information. Like, and
he didn't really look.
It's really like empowering when you come across this stuff, right? Like, it's like, holy shit. Because it's like, I didn't really even make this game. This game was gifted to me by the divine, right? And that's how I know that it's this thing is meant to happen. So yeah, I added this whole part of the game that incorporates that correlation with the minor arcana and the major arcana on the descent down the Tree of Life. And I added that to the game. It was just this lightning bolt of inspiration because I'd come across the information. I was trying to figure out, how do I make it all come together? And I've been sitting here for 2 months in Georgia, just waiting for this download. And it came after that new moon. It was literally like came out of that new moon fast. And it was like, boom, hit me with a fucking lightning bolt, literally lightning bolt.
That's so badass, dude. Badass.
So guys, this is when you dedicate yourself to the white path, as we talked about before, the mystic path. We've been trying to give you breadcrumbs to clue you in. Like we're not fucking around here. We are tapped in, and the information we're giving you guys is relevant, and it can help you. That's what we want. We're trying to help you guys here. And oh shit, we got a minute left. So I'm going to put a video in of me showing you guys how to do this design, right? The superstar design that I used to make Pentagrammaton. And there's a quick quote I want to try to sneak in here before we lose time. I think I had it. Damn it. It's about the pentagram, right? Am I going to have enough time? I'm going to have to do it after the break. Yeah, I got to do it after the break. All right. Well, check out this video of me. I'm showing you guys how to make the superstar design that I used to create this. Check out that video, and I'll be back with some information about the pentagram that you might not know. It's very interesting. And we'll be back for part 2.
All right.
Good morning, kids. Today, we're going to learn how to make a design that I call Superstar. It is the base design that I used to create this painting, the Pentagrammaton. Let's get started. It's actually a pretty easy design to make. It just takes a simple knowledge of the circle as most sacred geometry designs do. So, what you need to start: pencil, protractor, compass, ruler, your trusty eraser, and a piece of paper. I've already taken the liberty of doing the first couple of steps here. They're very simple. You find the center point of the paper, and you can do that by measuring. It's an 11 by 8.5, so 5.5 in, 4.25 down, and you got your center point. Or you could just fold it in half twice. So draw yourself a circle with your compass off of the center point here. Make the circle, and then you need to find the 5 points of the original center star. So to do that, you've already dissected the page, and the middle point here is the vertical dissecting line. That's your first point of the star. It's the top point. And then you take your little protractor here. If you guys don't know how to use a protractor, this is probably a little bit too intense for you. But anyway, center it, and you need to dissect the circle into 5 equal 72-degree sections, because 360 divided by 5 is 72. A little simple math for you. So center the protractor, mark off 72 and 144, flip her around. Now you gotta do a little bit of simple math to find the next point. From 144 to 180 is 36, and then from when you flip it from 0 to 36 would be your next point. So 36, and then add 72, 108. And then we have our 5 points. So the next step is to connect them in a pentagram. Now, if your first reaction to the word pentagram is, that's the sign of the devil, then mystic knowledge is probably not for you. Your mind has been captured by an ideology, and you should probably scroll away at this point. Now, I'm going to connect the points and give you the star. And there we have our star. Now the next step would be to erase the circle, because those lines are going to get in your way. That's why you want to draw your initial circle very lightly so that you can erase it. You can also erase this crossing line here. You might want to keep the vertical line just for now. Alright, there we have it. A mostly clean star here. Now what you want to do is extend each line that creates the star out about half of the line that already exists. So another half a line out here, another half a line out here. In every direction, every line of the star, you want to extend outward. So I'm going to do that real quick so you see what it looks like, and then we'll go from there. Alright, I extended the lines to the end of the page just because I know I have my trusty eraser here that can erase the excess lines. So the last step to finishing this design is you're going to draw a straight line from the top of each point to connect the line across. So a horizontal line in each direction to connect the lines that you've just drawn, and it'll create a pentagon around the star, but it'll also complete the design. We'll show you right now. And voila, the superstar. Now, one of the things you want to make sure you do is the connector lines that create the big design, the big star. Make sure they're as parallel as possible, or else you're going to end up with kind of a wonky design. And don't get caught up in the other lines that you're creating, or it's going to get all wonky. But that's the superstar. I'm going to go over it with Sharpie just to make it a little more defined. And there you have it. Pretty simple, huh? Like I said, this was the base design I used. You could see it here in the painting. And the way I made this crazy design is I just kept extending the lines outward. Every line that's created here, you extend it outward, you'll get something kind of like that. Pretty rad, huh? That's all for today. Very
And we're back. I hope you guys enjoyed that little tutorial on how to make
The
superstar.
superstar.
Superstar. This pentagrammaton, my really intense painting here. And I want to get into the pentagram a little bit more because a lot of people.
Did you find your quote?
I did. I did find it. I have it ready to go. He's good, Mom. My mom talking to the dog. I got a little guest here. There she is. Hey, Luli. Hi, dog.
What's dog's name?
Lucy, but we call her Lulu.
Lucy. I wanted to say Lucy. I don't
Looking
know
at,
why.
look at, she's looking at me. Huh? You talking to me? So yeah, let's talk a little more about this little symbol we know as the pentagram. So a lot of people think, oh, it's a sign of the devil, which
It's for the devil.
yeah. So here's a little quote about it. The symbol of the pentagram or five-pointed star has been around since the time of ancient Babylonia and Greece. In Western esotericism, the upright pentagram is called the star of the microcosm. When the pentagram is inscribed in a circle, it is called a pentacle, used mainly by Wiccans. According to Pythagoras, 5 is the number of the human being. Each of the 5 points of the pentagram represents one of the 5 elements of earth, air, water, fire, and spirit, as symbolized by the legs, arms, and the head. The pentagram's magical associations make it a potent ritualistic symbol used to invoke the power of the 5 elements, notably in the ceremonial magic and witchcraft. It is also used as a religious symbol by modern neo-pagan faiths and the Freemasons. When the pentagram is oriented upright, it stands for the spirit presiding over the 4 elements and is therefore a symbol of light, love, and the higher self. The upright pentagram attracts angelic forces while serving to protect from demonic ones. As such, it is used in white light magic. Interestingly, the upright pentagram was a Christian symbol long before modern neo-paganism adopted it. It represented the 5 wounds of Jesus Christ on the cross of the 4 elements and the daily self-sacrifice necessary to achieve the upright pentagram symbolically, which causes the spirit element to descend into the 4 elements and completely transform the consciousness. And that's an excerpt from Serpent Rising, the Kundalini Compendium by Nevin Parr.
Interessante.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's actually rooted in early Christian symbolism, the 5 wounds of Christ. And this goes back to, I did a video about it, about explaining the meaning of the painting and the pentagram specifically. It's all about intention, right? Yeah, witches use it for, summoning demons and spirits if you want to put it downwards. But when you put it upwards, it's actually a protective sigil, and it's used in a lot of white magic and has ties to Christ. So yeah, this is the misinterpretations and misunderstandings of symbolism in general. I would suggest you guys look into symbology and really try to understand some of these things before you just dismiss it outright, because there's a lot of power. There's a lot of power and energy in symbolism and symbology. And the divine speaks in a lot of ways through symbols and numbers, which is why I'm so tied to sacred geometry and why I want to kind of teach you guys, a little bit more about how to get into it, because, the
people don't understand, bro. Hieroglyphs are symbols, emojis are symbols, those are symbols.
yeah. And you look at like ancient Egyptian, right? Hieroglyphics, it's all symbols, right? Because symbols are more powerful than words, and they're more, they have more meaning behind them. A picture is worth 1,000 words, the old adage goes. But look at this stuff. Like it's not very hard to make. If you have a simple knowledge of the circle, like I said in that video, simple knowledge of the circle and how to cut it up, you can make really like powerful, cool designs. And once you start getting into sacred geometry, you really, and I go back to my, what I was talking about at the end of part 1, is that my connection to source, my connection to God, the divine, and how I'll sit down and make a painting like my board game, Kundalini, and all these things just come out. Like all these symbols and different things are coming out in my paintings. And then I'll go back and I'll look and find different meanings and understandings and information about the things that I've created that I didn't intend, right? It's just in there. And there's a lot of deep meaning in sacred geometry and geometry itself. It's why the Masons are so into it. It's why, geometry is encoded in reality. Like look at this one right here, the spiral. This is my other painting here. It's got the Fibonacci. You look closely, it's got the Fibonacci spiral in it, right? And what is the Fibonacci spiral? Our galaxy, our Milky Way galaxy, is the Fibonacci spiral. The Fibonacci sequence is encoded in our reality, in the structure of our bones, in birth patterns of animals.
Ratio, right? The golden ratio?
The golden ratio, yes. It's in the Da Vinci put it in a lot of his paintings. A lot of the Renaissance era artists put it in their work. There's a lot of correlation here between geometry and sound and light and cymatics. I talked about cymatics a little bit last episode. The frequencies of sound, and how if you put sand on a plate and vibrate it at a frequency, it'll make a sacred geometry pattern. Right. So this is the sacred geometry is the building blocks, the structure of our reality. And when you get into sacred geometry and start making this stuff, you start to click in and you tune into the frequency of source, and it just goes from there. It's why I wanted to put that little video in between parts, and so maybe you guys start looking into it and mess around with it a little bit, because it's very powerful, and it's something that has taught me a lot about myself and about reality, and it's really fun for me to sit down and make things like this because I'll go into it with a simple design like the one I showed you guys, a little superstar, and then I end up with something like that, and it's something that I cherish. And so moving on,
more people should take time to create stuff, to whatever capacity. Just tune out, get off the blue screens, turn off the screens, disconnect from, something, finger paint, damn it. Like just do something that you normally don't do and like just chill, like relax.
It's very powerful and very healing. And, we're talking a lot about spirituality here on this podcast and the path of spirituality. And, the Manly P. Hall quote, you talk about, the enlightenment, the moment of holy crap. There's a lot of people in this time period we're in right now with this shift in consciousness that are awakening. And it's a daunting thing. I've gone through it the last couple of years, a very intense spiritual awakening. There's no.
Speaking of which, I want to say this, and I hate to cut you off. I had a spiritual. I actually, speaking of Diana, who we talked about, she who's already in the spiritual community, she's a healer. She's like, I had another awakening. I'm like, another one? Like, she's like, yes, even as an awakened person, you can have another spiritual awakening.
It doesn't stop.
It was surrounding the whole shooter thing that happened with this CEO thing. It's like she actually comes from the medical field. She actually worked as an adjuster in insurance, and so she was telling me how like she doesn't want to be involved with that industry anymore, and lo and behold, like she's actually no longer there. She's no longer working with the industry. She was in the legal field, but she's been telling me about all the like really dark stuff, the dark side of like the medical side, the medical industry, because she knows all their secrets, right? She knows, well, maybe not all of them, but she knows a lot. Like she helped defend these big companies for a really long time, and she knows the effort that they put up. She knows exactly how to stop them from accomplishing their goal, which is paying out claims, and so she's been helping people. Well, she'd helped people out for a while before she left, the field, on trying to get their claims and stuff. But like she just wants nothing to do with it now. It's just a dark place. And this whole shooting, I think there was a message that is she was telling me, she was, whatever the message was on that bullet is something that her industry, when she was working for them, that was like their mission. Their mission was to, whatever those three words were, and I don't have them in front of me, but maybe like delay,
Delay,
detain,
deny, and
delay,
something else.
deny, and something else. And whatever those three
Delay,
words, like,
deny, depose.
depose, yeah. And so that's what her industry did. Like, her as a legal professional in that field, that's what she did. And she was like, you know what, she's like, I disconnect, and that whole thing was like another spiritual awakening for her. Is like, that's a vigilante scenario where someone took it upon themselves and probably, was a victim of some sort, from some lack of payout or lack of claim. As far as we know, I don't know, maybe this is a narrative that they're trying to portray. But ultimately, like, if we really think about insurance, and I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe this guy, whoever just got killed, I believe his latest bonus was like 12.1 or $12.2 million. And so now you've got an executive getting bonuses for what? For claims that they don't pay out? Like, how's that right? Like, how do you justify these things? And so there's a lot of problems that are really like under the surface. A lot of us don't even really think, oh, that's like really a big problem. Like down the line, like, yeah, like, insurance is a big deal. Our country is ran on insurance. Like, if like a lot of insurance policies were to be cashed out, like, we'd be even more broke than we already are, because we insure everything. And then the insurance companies spend that money on who knows what, because their job is to take the money that you put in insurance and invest in other income producing assets. And so this way, when the claims come to go get paid out, that the claims get paid out, supposedly. That's kind of how
I mean,
the
insurance in our society is kind of the ultimate scam. It's like
yeah,
paying in case shit. We gotta have car insurance, and
right.
I was paying out more than the value of my car every year for them to insure my car. Like, I have a '06 Corolla, right? It's worth like $2,000, and I was paying about that much every year for insurance in case I crash my car and they have to pay $2,000 to replace it. So it's like I'm paying the value of my car every year in case shit, and then it, if the shit actually happens, they try to delay, deny, right? They try
And depose.
to, maybe it was your, maybe it was your fault, and or maybe there's some kind of loophole here that we don't have to pay you. So
Yeah. The
and the
whole
same thing
system is
goes.
rigged. The whole system is rigged to not help you. It's rigged so that they keep the money and you get screwed. I don't know how else to put it. That's just the way it is.
I mean, it starts like you've talked about it before, right? Debt, the whole system's based on debt. Like, the whole money economic system is based on debt. It's a usury based system, which, if you look at
Yeah.
scriptures, it's banned in the Quran and it's banned in the Bible. This practice of usury, which is debt based loaning. It's why the debt collector or the tax collector in the Bible was always like the symbol of evil, right? Like, the guy you don't want to associate with is the tax collector, the debt collector,
Yeah.
because this practice of usury. Look up the word. The
Yeah.
practice of usury is deemed evil, and there's a reason. It's a way to slowly indemnify and enslave the population, which is
Yeah.
not coincidentally what we kind of have here is a de facto slave system of money that
We're
doesn't really have
basically
any value.
we're basically economic slaves, right? And even though we're free from cages, we're we do the song and dance for the dollar, for the bills, for the dollar bills, y'all. Hey,
Yeah.
dollar make you holla.
And it hasn't always been this way. I know a lot of people, well, we've done it this way for this. It hasn't always been this way. This is not what, when the creator
No.
made this place, the creator did not have this money system in mind when this beautiful reality was created. This is a system that was created by the shadow, the matrix, whatever you want to call it, octopussy. Yeah, it's fuckery, and it's part of what you're trying to introduce this quantum ecosystem that reintroduces equity into the landscape, right? Is to give everybody an equal share, every kind of like a Robin Hood type of thing, where it's like we're reintroducing value into a valueless system, which is our economic system. There really is not a lot of value left
And
in
the
our
value
money.
is the value is the value is your participation, because you're the value. People don't like, if you sit there and you think about it, why are all these big companies mining your data? Not just mine, but yours too. Why are they mining all of our data? Because maybe we're the motherfucking value. Just maybe.
Yeah, the people are
I
the
don't
real
know. Call me
resource,
crazy. I'm just a crazy nuthead.
and
But maybe we're the value.
that's the truth, is that the people are the value. We are the true, we're made in the image of the creator. We are powerful energetic beings, and we have a lot of value, and the whole system has been designed in pushing your value down in your own mind, right? Into hypnotizing you into thinking you have no value. Oh, you're just a worthless nothing. You're not anything. You're just a consumer, and then you just consume, and then you die, and you have no power. Right? It's about taking away that power from you any way they can, through politics or your job, or it's about
You know, you know
demeaning
how
and
to take the power
degrading
away
you.
from you? You know how to take the power away from you? By knowing what makes you tick. By knowing what you like, knowing what you dislike, by knowing how you watch videos, by bro, what this part you do sing dance to their tune. It's fucking easy. It's fucking science at this point. They don't have to. Let me pull profile. Let me see. Let me see what he likes. Oh yeah, and he likes long. Let's setting right, like, bro, all this stuff, the honeypot stuff. You know, if you ever get followed, get like, interactions with federal agents into your life, profiles on. They gotta know how you think. They want to know what makes you tick, so they can life plan. Am I making sense here? I don't know. Tell me.
I think you were making too much sense, because there was literally a lightning bolt of shitty connection that just destroyed every awesome thing you were saying. I knew what you were saying. I knew what you were getting at, but like, literally it was just like, meh. It's like, damn, Alex, fuck, man. Alex is on a good one,
I
and
broke the matrix again. I broke the matrix.
you did. But I'll paraphrase what Alex was saying is, they know what makes you tick because they're mining your data. They've created this technology that makes you a zombie, that makes you just put your data into it all day long with your interaction. So they know what you like. They know your algorithm is giving them everything they need to know what they need to put in front of you as far as ads. Well, what are they going to buy? And I mean, a lot of it's consumer driven, but a lot of it is nefarious as well. It's like getting to know, like, they created the blue light, which we talked about last episode, to get you to look at this thing nonstop and feed it your brain waves. And then they read those brain waves through your data. And then they know a pretty good blueprint of how your mind works. And, they've already taken the power of your buying away from you by destroying our money system with willy-nilly printing of money, flooding the market with dollars, and You know, it's diminished your buying power, which is your energy that you've put into your time and your energy that you put into your job. They give you this little certificate of money that helps you buy stuff, but then they flooded the market with more of these dollars that diminish the dollars that are already in existence. So your buying power, and essentially they've put a price on your energy and taken that price and drove it through the ground, and where we're at. But like I said, we take this
That's a
bad
pretty good
energy,
summarization of what I was saying.
we take all this bad energy and we transmute it. Alex is coming up with a system going to help. You know, it's not all doom and gloom here, but in order to really get over the hump of this, you know, this giant monolith, that the octopus, you need to know this stuff. You need to understand the system and the situation we're in, and know that you have
You
power.
can't win a game. You can't win a game that you don't know you're playing.
And you can't win a chess game when you think you're playing checkers either. So
Right.
all that to say, you know, it starts with you, and you know, in your own power, and know that you are the resource, you are the value, and the system doesn't operate without the value you put into it. And as long as they can keep you zombied on a phone and degraded by ideologies telling you that you aren't good enough and that you need something outside of you to make you into something better, you have something inside of you that's special. The creator put it there, and it's about waking that up. It's about waking that up inside of you, and saying, you know what, I am a beautiful, wonderful, valuable being that can make a difference in my own life and in others' lives, and just awakening to that fact, awakening to these things, types of things, start creating
You
things.
got the power.
You do. So hopefully, by empowering you with this knowledge, it will drive this force and awaken this thing inside of you to make you want to find the discipline, like Manly P. Hall was talking about. Find the discipline and the self-love to seek out what your full potential is. What can you do? You know, you're not this poor little me, worthless sinner, horrible thing that isn't worthy of God's love. Like, you are God's love. Like, he put the love into you and when he created you and put you on this place to make a difference. And that's what we're all trying to do in this time of shift and consciousness, is awaken people to that thing, that spark inside of them. Treat your body like a temple.
Yeah.
And make it worthy of that love, because it's just inside of you, waiting to wake up. And you can do it. You know, Alex and I are a testament to it, and we're walking that path, and we're trying to shine that for you to find it as well. So we're almost out of time with this section. We're almost out of time with this. I think we should
I'm actually pretty good.
What's that?
I'm actually pretty good, but you wanna wrap up on the third one?
Well, we were going to talk about the Black Pope stuff, but maybe you want to just hold off.
Yeah, this is like bring that into this one at this point. Like, I don't see.
Yeah, and last episode was pretty long, so let's give them a short one to consume, a little bit more. I mean, we were talking about some dirt and some negative stuff, but there's a lot of positive stuff I hope you guys can take out of this episode and try to.
Oh, I think I'm positive. I think a lot of it's like guidance, like, you know, dealing with a lot of, you know, right now we're dealing with Mercury retrograde. Like, a lot of things are kind of not working in our favor. You know, I've had a lot of things not work in my favor right now, and I could be like throwing a fit and like throwing shit, you know, and like and being mad. You know, I've got literally the banks effing with me right now because of my company being set up in some Native American territory, which the bank, thankfully, actually, I don't even have told you, I actually got the bank account open finally. But then my Shopify got shut down. So it's like I'm dealing with all these little like things that are like they're like a gnat or like a fly that's just buzzing around. You just want to smack the shit out of it, you know? And it's just like, just like stupidity, like little stupid things, but you have to deal with it, and you have to deal with it with grace. You don't have to get upset. There's no point in getting irritated because it's not going to change anything. I literally just have to just get up and go and deal with whatever's next, right? Thankfully, I didn't lose my shit on my bank teller because now I actually have a bank account with my bank, so I can go down there and I actually have money wired in, and things are starting to move. It only took me 3 weeks to get here. Whatever, like we're here, okay? We're here, and we're gonna continue moving forward. And it's a grind, and this is all saying over the phone. It's like grinding molasses right now, okay? It's like grinding molasses, just like trying to break through all the energy, all the negativity. And it's like there's every reason in the world for me to give up, for like that, like that's what the devil wants. The devil wants to give me every reason in the world for me to give up. And I have, because of that, I have every reason in the world not to give up, right? And I know that I'm taking this with grace. I trust when I tell you it's fucking painful. Like it sucks, right? It sucks because there's a lot of things that are happening that are falling apart, which I have no control over. And I'm just sitting there like, okay, God, like, you know what you're doing, bro. You know what you're doing, and you're gonna lead me down this, like, I'm walking this super narrow path where literally the bricks in front of me are just falling out, and I'm gonna have to skip a step just so I don't fall through, right? But we're here, and just know, guys, like, take your struggle with grace, because you know what? There's always a takeaway. There's always something for you to learn from the experience. And sometimes it's really not your fault, but you still got to go through it because people around you have lessons to learn. And you are the beacon of light that's going to show other people how not to lose your shit when the world is melting down around you. You're that beacon of light, because people are looking at me like, yo, how is this dude not freaking the fuck out right now? I'm like, honestly, my faith, my faith. Because if not,
Well,
I would be freaking out.
that ties up perfectly what we were talking about in part one, right? Is like you've done the growth, you went through the uncomfortable growth and the uncomfortable knowledge, and now you're on this part of your path where you need that growth and knowledge to get over this little hump that you're going through, right? If you hadn't gone through the things you did before because you willingly went through the uncomfortable parts, right, to become a better person, to take that growth. Now you're in this part where you're facing a hump that you have to get over, and the old Alex would have done it differently. But because
Yeah.
you grew and you took the path of growth, now you're equipped to deal with all the gnats and the bullshit. And you'd be like, you know what? I'm stronger than this, and I'm not going to quit. And
Yeah.
if you hadn't gone through that, and some other person who took the comfortable path would be like, you
They're
know
gonna
what, fuck it, and they'd be
Yep.
done with it. But it's like, no. So guys, don't lose heart. And this is something we talked about, I think, last episode, is like when the challenges come, know that means that you're on the right
You're
path.
onto something. You're onto something.
Because
Yep.
because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right? If it was easy, then you wouldn't be where, like it's just keep going, just keep going.
I love it.
Because those obstacles are showing you you're close. So, Alex, you and I are on the opposite side of the spectrum as far as what's going on right now. I'm getting hammered with downloads and just putting out stuff. But I'm always here for you, brother.
I
And
appreciate you, bro. I love
and
you. And I love all of
we're
you watching. Whoever's been watching and subscribing and liking, we love you. Thank you so much. It
yes,
helps.
like, share, subscribe. Keep this momentum going, guys. We've had some good couple of episodes, viewer wise. Let's keep those viewer counts going up. Let's keep the positive momentum. We're gonna grow this podcast, and we're gonna change the world.
That's it. We love you.
Time.